Hi, my name's Heather Sweet. I'm going to show you how I make a moulded rose using sugar modelling paste. There are several different ways of making a moulded rose. I think this technique results in a very realistic flower with quite fine petals. It's really quite easy to make. To begin with, you need to roll a short cone with a very sharp point on the end. This is the base for our rose. Just press down slightly on the base so that it doesn't fall over. This part won't show anyway afterwards. Roll a ball of modelling paste so there's no creases. And using some cellophane or rigid plastic, I'm just going to put a little dusting of corn flour on the outside of the ball to stop it sticking. Place it between two pieces of plastic and press down in the centre. Then with your finger, press with quite a lot of pressure all the way around the outside edge so that you know you've made it quite nice and thin, and it will be slightly thicker in the middle. As you can see, it's gone out of shape. So you can just press and spread the paste out from the middle to try and get more of a circular disc. Remove your petal from the cellophane. You can use gum arabic glue if you don't like using egg white. I've got egg white. Egg white's very, very good mainly because it dries quite quickly. So I've just painted all over that petal. Then I'm going to place the cone in the centre of the petal. When you do this, check to make sure that the point of the cone is in line with the top of that petal. You don't want the petal higher or lower. Then pushing from the top, wrap that petal right round the cone. Take another ball of icing and repeat. Press all around the edge, make it really thin on the edges because this is what makes it look realistic. The edges of the petals are left thick. I don't think it looks as lifelike. The first petal is the only petal that we're going to paint glue all over. From now on, we're just going to paint a line of glue halfway around the outside of that sugar shape. Then I want the centre of this petal to sit over this join from the first petal. So I'm just going to wrap that round. Slightly looser this time because we want the rose to look like it's beginning to unfurl. Then repeat with another petal. Roll it, remove creases, press between the plastic, get that lovely thin edge on the petal, and then spread from the middle. I'm making all the petals the same size. So this is the second layer. First layer is the one petal wrapped around tightly. The second layer is two petals, and this one will fold back, going back towards the other petal, so they cross over at the sides. So that's my second layer of two petals. The third layer, I'm going to use three petals. It's very difficult to actually give you any guide or any measurement to help you decide where to position the petals. It really is something that you just have to do it by eye and use your own judgment. This layer of three petals, we're going to work the petal a little bit more. So put corn flour in the palm of your hand, put the petal there so it doesn't stick, and using the large end of a ball tool, just go round the outside of the petal, but only halfway. If you apply enough pressure, you should get a slight frill. You don't want too much of a frill, but if it's left completely straight, it doesn't look very natural. After you've frilled it, turn it over and then limit yourself to 3 presses with the ball tool in the centre, just to give you that natural petal cup shape. Then glue halfway around on the straight edge. We're leaving the frilled part of the petal dry. And I'm going to put the centre of this petal over one of the edges of that last petal. When you put this on, don't destroy the shape by forgetting and pressing where you've cupped it. Just press around the petal in the place where you know you've put the glue, so you don't squash that lovely cut shape. You can also just encourage it to petal to curl back on the ends slightly with your fingers. I'm going to repeat that and add 2 more petals. If you have very hot hands and you find it difficult frilling a petal in the palm of your hand, you can use a foam pad, which you can buy from cake decorating shops designed for the purpose. And you just put the petal on the pad and work it on the pad instead of in your hand. I tend to use my hands for everything. I'm very lucky, I've got cool hands, so the icing doesn't normally stick. And of course the corn flour also helps to avoid stickiness. So this is my second petal, so I'm going to put it, I think, there, and that leaves me a space here for petal number 3. Let's press that one on. I never tire of making these because once you've got the technique, they're quite straightforward to make. And the nice thing is, you could do it while you're watching the telly. You don't need a lot of equipment. All you need, fingers and a little bit of cellophane or plastic, and your sugar. Nice and simple. There's petal number 3 I shall put there, so that when you look down inside, you can just see inside the rose, because you've cupped it down there. And it's unfurling, so obviously they're getting a little bit looser now around the centre. After you've done that 3, you just keep building. The next layer would be 5 petals, which would look similar to this one. Layer 5. Well, that was the layer of 5. I've just started now to add another layer of 7 because I want it to look like a large vintage rose. It's nice to vary the size of the roses in a spray, so I often stop at the 3 layer, and that makes a nice half rose. This is a good example. You can see a full rose, got 1 petal going around the centre, I've got a 2 petal layer, a 3 petal layer, and then the 5 petals, a half rose, and literally I just wrapped 1 petal around the cone to make a bud. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my little demonstration, and I hope you'll have a go at making your own roses. You can also use modelling chocolate to make these roses. Use exactly the same technique. The nice thing is, when you put them on a cake, everything is edible. There's no wires, etc. to worry about when people are cutting the cake. You can see more of my classes and my models and my cake toppers on my Facebook page, which is Wicked Wacky Sculptures by Heather Sweet, or go to my website www.sweetart.co.uk. Bye!